Shalom, Shalom, Akim. Alright, back at you with another lesson through the power and the spirit of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Harakah Kodash, double understood the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and yes, the house of David is rising. So, let's go straight in, man. Psalms 124 and 2 says, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side, when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick, when their wrath was kindled against us. So yeah, man, this is the song of a decree of David, talking about the enemies. The enemies are trigger happy. The enemies are eager. The enemies want to swallow us up. Yeah, David again from the top. Songs of decree of David. If it had not been the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick, when their wrath was kindled against us. So yeah, you got these trigger happy enemies, the E's and the Goyim nations. Yeah, the main culprit is the E's that are trigger happy. And I was just want to tie it in with this for now, but there's a whole lot of examples we could use, but this is one of the latest ones. Ralph Yeel, black teen shot at doorstep after ringing wrong doorbell. You see him there. He was what you call a young prodigy, a young music genius. See him there flexing his little his saxophone, and there's so many examples I could use, but this is the freshest one right now off the press. The Emmett Tills, in one of my videos I did, there's a load of Emmett Tills. The Truth According to the Bible, that was the title of it. The Truth According to the Bible. I went in on a couple of examples. You got the Emmett Tills, you got the Philip Lawrence, who died in the 90s. It was a racial murder. He died. So yeah, these are things that happen, man, regarding living in among the enemies. Deuteronomy 28, the curses. Let's read a little bit of it. It says Ralph Yell is a fanatic kid who plays bass clarinet, and his aunt said protesters erupted in Kansas City, Missouri over the weekend after a homeowner shot a black teen twice who rang their doorbell by mistake. See, these people just want to get at you, man, as David was going in, man. They're just trigger happy. They just can't wait to flash their weapons and shoot you. And Deuteronomy talks about that, man. The enemy with a fierce countenance, coming from far, no regard for the young or for the old. So he was 16, was sent by his parents to pick up his brothers from a friend's house on the 13th of April, but went to the wrong address. But you see, he just lets you know, man, we're in the time now. We know about the Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30 and 7. And there's always been Jacob's trouble, but it's just going to get more and more intense and more blatant. Let me carry on reading. It says, the suspect, Mr. Yell, through his door. The suspect shot Mr. Yell through his door. The teen took one shot in the head, say his family and their lawyers. Well, actually, when you look at you hear other related witnesses say he was shot twice in the head and he's left there for dead, and he tried to knock on other neighbors' doors and other doors, and they wouldn't come to his rescue. They wouldn't aid him. See, this thing is just pure, it's the enemy, man. We know we're behind enemy lines. This is I think he got his wake up call, man. Even though he's 16 years old, you can't be naive, man. This is not our rest, man. But this is an example for a lot of other people that wanna build their foundation in this place here, Babylon over here in England, the mothers of Babylon over there in America, Babylon itself, the seat of Babylon. So yeah, this doesn't tell the whole story. This article from BBC News doesn't tell the whole story. There was more to it, but I'm going to read what it says here. Yeah, he continues to, Yale was released from hospital on Sunday. Let me read up. Police have released the shooter from custody but not identified them. Mr. Yale was released from hospital on Sunday and he recovering at home with his family. His father, Paul Yale, told the Kansas City Star. The Kansas City Star is another famous guy that was shot, and the other one with the Alabama shooting with the potential footballer who was very popular. He was going to be a famous footballer. Him and 4 others were killed in the house party. Done that video on that yesterday, and 28 were injured. So this is not the time to be in the house of mirth. You know, as I went in on the video, that people think that to have fun, to be rebellious, to be free is fun. You know, so better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of mirth at this time. This is not, we're not in a time of mirth now. The time to be getting serious. The prophets are out there on the streets, man, trying to give you a head warning, because after talking about the rebellious people, Isaiah 30, talking about the rebellious people, all the rebellious people of Yashua Allah, the so-called black people. If you're rebellious against the Lord, it's not going to be good for you. It's going to end bad for you. All the rebellious people shall die. Amos chapters 9 and 10. All the wicked of Yashua Allah, the so-called black people. If you're wicked and you're not hearkening to the Lord, nobody dies innocent. The rebellious of my people shall die, as Amos said. As sad as it is, as sad as it may sound, it's just the reality of it. This was a cold shooting. The enemy came in, shot him twice in the head. He ran to his neighbors, 3 other doors, and they did not open the door to help him. Eventually he collapsed. They wanted him to bleed out. There's no mercy. He continues to improve, his father told the paper. He is responsive and is making good progress. So he hasn't died. He hasn't died, but it will, shot in the head. Be shot in the head. Well, life and death belongs to that in the hands of the Lord. But this was a shocking wake-up call. So they're protesting right now. Let's read down. If you want to read the whole of it, you can do so. The suspect was taken to police headquarters to provide a statement before being released in Missouri. A person taken under custody for a felony, investigations must be released or charged within 24 hours. Investigators are looking into whether or not the suspect, this is interesting, is protected by the state stand your ground laws. See? So what he's going to say is that he felt. Let's carry on. So the suspect is protected. The investigators are looking into whether or not the suspect is protected by the state stand your ground laws, which grant people permission to use deadly force if they feel seriously in danger. So he's going to say the little 16-year-old. What his story, I've already heard some of it. He said it was a six foot person at his door, and he said the guy was trying to break in, and he said to him, "Don't come around there." This is what his story is. Which we know to ease them, the farmers of lies, thinking that they're clever. He's gonna come up with a cockball story. He said he was a 6 foot guy at his door, and he said to him, "Don't come around there," and the guy was trying to break in. So he felt threatened. That's his story. He's not telling you it here, but that's a story I've heard from around the way. other articles and people doing their investigating, and there's more gonna come out. More news will come out. So he was telling the person to go away, and he felt like the guy was trying to break in, so he shot. But if you put two and two together, he opened the door, man. He saw the guy and he shot him twice in the head. See, when you put two and two together, you know that these people are the formers of lies, man. The harbingers of death. These people are the harbingers of death. This guy had an itchy trigger finger. He was premeditating it from a long time. The serpents, the dragon, premeditating it from the long time. And the dragon represents the military, right? And is military. And you got the serpent, which are the people, the serpent people, otherwise known as the serpent people, otherwise known as the Edomites. And they got itchy fingers, and they have an intense hatred for you. Yeah, and that goes back to Psalms 137, when they said, raise it, raise it, raise it. Yeah, they don't want to open the borders for you guys, man. They wanted to just get their hands upon you. And that perpetual hatred, that's in is it Ezekiel? I think it's Ezekiel 25, or it might be Ezekiel 27 or 35. No, I think it's Ezekiel 25. The perpetual hatred they have for you. They have any excuse that they get to be able to let off some rounds on you. They do that. They will use it. So they're gonna. He's gonna use the suspect is protected by. So investigators are looking into whether or not the suspect is protected by the stand your ground laws, which grant people permission to use deadly force if they feel seriously in danger. That's what he's gonna say. Critics say with such laws violate officiate violence against black people. I'm probably butchering that word, but facilitate. That's it. Such laws facilitate violence against black people, and we've heard that before with the other young guy that shot up in one of the protesters. His name escapes me right now. He went into the protesters, the Black Lives protesters, and he started shooting, and he tried to kill black people, but that's just an excuse he wanted to use. Stand your ground law. I do recognize the racial component of this case, Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves said. I do recognize and understand the community's concerns and the community response to this particular incident. If you're a black woman, you might understand. If you're not, then they don't give a flying monkeys. So there you have it, man. I just wanted to bring some truth according to the Bible, because we don't get the truth. We get pure lies, unadulterated lies from the wicked, and they got itchy fingers. They're just any excuse they use to get at ya. That's what they use it. In this case, he go and try and use the stand your ground law. But even if he finds himself not guilty, he will face justice eventually anyway. Let's get back to this. Abu Ratazar bring out a couple of words. If it had not been for the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us. So you got another example of Emmett Till, and there's a whole load of Emmett Tills unaccounted for, not in the mainstream news, so-called unsolved crimes in America and over here in England. I stated that over here in England, and maybe there's some that I maybe knew some, or knew someone who knew some over here in Babylon, the mother of Babylon. Yeah, because there was times when you had to, we were chased by National Front. We were chased by National Front, and we had to firm up and unite to fight them off a couple of times. I mean, I'll tell you how to start the whole story. I mean, I'll tell you everything what happened. But if it wasn't for the Lord, if it had not been for the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us, then they would have swallowed us up when their wrath was kindled against us. Stephen Lawrence is the example where, he wasn't under the protection of the Lord, man, Most High, and they swallowed him up, killed him. 18. He was 18 when they got him. Those two, I think there was four of them, and two of them got convicted of murder, and they was put in prison for life. There was four perpetrators, suspects in the Stephen Lawrence case, I think, but two was found guilty of killing him, and they was convicted of murder. But that was all of the spirit. It came 19 years later, where the parents were happy to get justice after 19 years fight for justice. Really, they wanted to throw the case out. The police officers, the Met Police Force, wanted to just throw it out and didn't want to give it any kind of time or tool, because it was only a black guy who died. And you know there's racism in the force as well, in the police force. And right now the Met Police Force are under investigation, so they say. And there's one of the latest cases is there's been a rape. I might do a video on that. One of the police officers was found guilty, or is charged of rape, waiting to be sentenced. And there's other cases where police officers have been charged of rape. One of them was charged and sentenced with rape. One woman recently, was it about a year ago, was walking the street and she was attacked, and it was a police officer that did it. Got the woman's name, but yeah, these things happen in the police force. So there's racism in the police force. So they're just as racist as everybody else. They have a perpetual hatred for you, and even against their own people, they're doing all kinds of things, crimes. And like I say, the police force, the Met Police Force, is being investigated, and they're saying they're gonna over 100 or more are being investigated. They might be kicked out, but there's a lot of criminals or police officers with criminal records. That shocked me. That did. A lot of police officers with violence on their criminal record, and they're still allowed to be police officers. So these are the enemy, what King David was talking about, the ease, and a lot of them have badges today. See, that's why you have to be circumspect, man. Right now, they had swallowed us up quick, which means they would have liked to just got their dirty, filthy, smelly, dirty, stinking hands on us if they could, when their wrath was kindled against us. And yeah, if you ain't protected of the Lord, you are effed. If you ain't protected of the Lord, just like some of the examples we're showing now, you're finished. Then the waters had overwhelmed us, the streams had gone over our souls. If you wasn't protected of the Lord, then the proud waters had gone over our souls. But for the Lord, blessed be the Lord, who have not given us as prey to their teeth. Yeah, their teeth is their power. So you got a lot of police officers with a badge, which means they have a measure of authority and power, and they're abusing it. And we just saw the example of the young 16-year-old that just got shot in the head twice for knocking on the wrong door. Their teeth is their weapons, their power, their gift, their guns, and all the things that they like to use. That includes the kitchen sink. They want to do everything, man, if the Most High allows them to. Our souls is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowler. Their snare is broken, and we are escaped. Our help is the name of the Lord, who make heaven and earth. That's our help. Let's just check this word out. Let's check it out. Escape, because it's the Most High that's delivered us, and we all have stories that we can tell of how we've been delivered. Remember, we are over here in Babylon, the mother of Babylon, behind enemy lines. Escaped.
Strong's H 4422. Malat.
Yeah. So we were delivered, escaped, delivered, safe, be delivered. So Most High delivered us, man. And I can talk about the times, how many times He's delivered me. I can talk about the ones that He's done that I'm aware of. But I'm just thinking in the spirit now. There's probably a whole lot of times when he delivered me that I wasn't even aware of it. Yeah, my brother gave a good example. He said, there's times when you feel like you want to go somewhere, and for some reason you change your mind, you don't go, and that could have been the Spirit of the Lord intervening for you or for your protection. If something might have happened if you insisted on doing it or going a certain place, something may have happened. The Most High has escaped. He's delivered us times when we're aware of and times when we haven't been aware of. So this case here, this guy, his name again, Ralph Ewell, the black teen that was shot for ringing the wrong doorbell. This goes back to the curses. It goes back to Deuteronomy. Let's go back to Deuteronomy, because people try and say we're not under the curses, even today, even after things like this. Listen, man, these are reminders. These are cold reminders that we're still behind enemy lines and we're intensely hated. The perpetual hatred is very strong with these people. Jeremiah 28, Deuteronomy 28 and 49 says, "The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle." And we know that. We went and spoke a bit about that in one of my videos. The eagle represents them. That's their banner. That's their badge of honor. That's what they like to, that's their representative, if you like, or that's their flag, man. Their banner. That's their banner. Yeah, the eagle, which the proud eagle, and they put that on a lot of their. The word is symbol. Right? They put that their symbolism. That's on their flags. A lot of their symbolisms. The eagle, the proud eagle that soars very high. And they want to say that they're the eagle. Yeah, and also the owl as well. The owl represents wisdom, and they believe that the owl is very stealth and it sees in the dark, and they see themselves as the Illuminati, which means to be illuminated. They have the truth, so that's another one of their symbols, the owl. Which on the left hand side, yeah, that is their symbol that represents wisdom, and they bow down to a statue in where's that place called? The place escapes me, but there's a massive owl. The name of the place escapes me, but there's a massive, Bohemian Grove. There's a massive owl. That's where it is, in some place, some hiding out place where they go, and there's a lot of so-called conspiracy theories on them, which they're not conspiracy theories. People have come out, whistleblowers have come out and spoken what goes on there, and they just make jokes about it, but it's very real. Bohemian Grove, and there's a massive owl where they sacrifice, children to it. It might sound laughable, but it's very true. It's gonna be, all this is gonna come out. The truth has to be revealed according to Daniel chapter 12, man. The truth will come out, all of the truth. So that's another one of their symbols. You got the owl as well. You got the eagle. You got the owl. And they bow down to it in Bohemian Grove. They put sacrifices on it, and they sacrifice a lot of jakes, but children basically. Yeah. So the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far from the end of the earth, as swift as an eagle flieth. Because they were quick. And that guy, when he shot that young guy, which we know now he was a Edomite, a straight Edomite that shot him, he didn't hesitate. He was quick about it, man. I'm just saying, they like to do it quick. They do their thing quick, man. They bring vengeance, man, and it's all the Spirit of the Lord anyway, like judgment, man. But sadly, it's just what it is. Mosai, he's got many ways how, there will be more. That's just the reality. There will be more Jacob's trouble, man. Prophecy has to be fulfilled. This is just prophecy. And he says, which shall not regard the person of the young or the old. This case, 16 years old. And how old was Emmett Till? Emmett Till was about 12, round about. something to that effect, 12 or 13, and Stephen Lawrence over here in England, the one that died in the 90s, around 92. He was 18 when he was killed. It was cold killing. So the person of the old nor show favor to the young. So no favor, don't care how old or young they are. And there's a lot of stories of old people being treated as a certain ways too, in old people's homes. You know, you got the Windrush where my parents' generation was treated very bad over here. When they came over here, they was tempted to come over here because they was told the streets were paved with gold, and they was gullible, and they thought they were going to improve their lives by coming over and slaving. They was actually lied. It was a cold, straight lie to build up after the post Second World War, to build up the mash up houses, the broke down place. The place was mashed up and broke down. And yeah, our parents taught these Edomites how to wash them nasty self. They taught them how to wash. They was working cleaning up their houses, house cleaners, cleaning a lot of all them undesirable jobs they was doing them, and they was teaching them how to wash, teaching them how to bathe them nasty skin. Look that up. That's documented too. Teaching them how to wash. Well, a lot of people try and hide that, but these Edomites, them nasty. Up to this day, you got grunge, and they take pride in saying we don't have baths. You understand? They take pride in it, man. So they was taught how to wash. Me no like them, man. Them nasty. Yeah. And from what I've seen as well, them nasty. I was brought up around them. Yeah. If you've ever been in care, you would know about how them people. Them is nasty. Them nasty. So yeah, our parents' generation taught them how to wash them nasty skin. You understand? Yeah, and he shall not eat their fruit. So there you have it, man. The nation of a fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And shall, let me read this too. And shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until they be destroyed. Because yeah, they are very, very parasites. They're parasites, bloodsuckers, sucker puffs. If you let them leech onto you, they'll bleed you dry. And that's what they done to the Windrush generation. Bleed them out dry, take all their energy and whatever else they had to offer, and then wanted to send them back to where they came from, their islands, without nothing. And they're fighting up to this day. There's a big protest now. It's like they want to get people's what they call it when they get signatures to try and fight the fact that and get compensation for the way they were treated, the Windrush generation. They still want to try and fight to get them home, send them back to their where they, which a lot of them were born here or was brought over here when they was very young. So they class this as their land, their upbringing. They don't class this as they class this as their home, but they're trying to get them, the older generation, the so-called older generation, is still trying to send them back. So there's a petition, what they're trying to do now to drop it. Which these people, as I say here, as it says there, they're very, very cold. They have no regard for the young or for the old. Hence the Windrush. What they're trying to send them back. They begged them to come over here and lied and said all kinds of lies to get them to come over here to build up their nasty, dirty, smelly country. And now they want to send them back home with nothing. So there's a petition against that. So just to hit that point there, they don't have no respect for the young or the old. And just jump down to 66 of Deuteronomy 28. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life. Yeah, these are the curses. These are very real. That example we just had there, after he got shot, it was a wake-up call. And that just reminds us again, this is what it was like in the 50s. It was more blatant in the 50s and the 60s. And they didn't need no stand your ground law. Just say I didn't like them. You know, they just showed it outright hatred. Want to get rid of you. They didn't need no. Now he's gonna say this stand your ground law is in fear. Them days they didn't need none of that. Now that's just another means in which they can take their anger out on you and say, yeah, I was in fear for my life. The man was trying to break into my house because he wasn't no 6 foot man. See, he was a 16-year-old boy. Shot him twice in the head. So this is a wake up call. Doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life. Now, you know, that guy's, is he going to be, if he does recover, that 16-year-old teenager, if he does recover, he's going to have trauma. He's going to be suffering from trauma. And a lot of Jake are suffering from trauma. You know, what they call it, the curses, passed down, generational curses. And that's why you have certain bug outs, what they call bug outs. They're just suffering from trauma. They haven't been debriefed. But, you know, the debriefing will come. It's going to come from Yahshua Allah, man. Anyway. So, here's another example of the curses. Deuteronomy 28. Ralph Yale. Black teen shot off at doorstep for ringing wrong ringing wrong doorbell. Another example of the curses. You can't make this up. The truth of the Bible is real. And if it wasn't for the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yoshai, we just looked in Deuteronomy, the curses are very real. Back to the top again. And we're going to end the video. The Song of Decree of David. Yeah, and he had a lot of enemies too. The Most High delivered him from all his enemies. If it had not been the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side, when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quickly when their wrath was kindled against us. So all through the power and the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Shai, our souls escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowler. Abaratazar, we continue to endure and continue to serve him in sincerity and in truth. We're gonna deliver us, man, right, from the snares of the fowler. The snare is broken and we are escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. So our snare, they set in snares, but the Most High delivered us. Up to this point, Abaratazar, he continued to deliver us. We serve him in sincerity and truth. Ultimately, the elect are protected from the Most High. Abaratazar, we're all in that number. We go in and endure to the end. So the word of Yahweh Hashem Yeshua put on the spirit on me to do this video. Yes, the house of David is rising, and everything the wicked have done to us, past, present, and future, is falling upon their own head. There you have it. The truth of the Bible. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. It's on to the next. Shalom, to the next one.